Clark's experience about sharing with you about a philosophy of life, which we don't hear too often. We hear about mechanical things, programs or marketing or how to train an instructor or whatever. So, you know, that big umbrella philosophy will give you big guiding directions. The mechanical, you know, it's kind of the mechanical version and the psychological version. Mechanically, if you enjoy teaching kids, you teach kids. If you enjoy teaching adults or kickboxing or Krav Maga, whatever it may be, you should really teach what you enjoy to teach. I mean, hands down. For me, it's always been kids. They're a lot of fun and super resilient. And you know, for maybe my experience, where's that, Mr. Corrett, comes from the fact that my 6 locations are kids that started with me when they were 6 years old. Maybe that's where I draw that experience, and that's why I enjoy the kids so much, because I've been able to keep them for 20 years and give them some pretty good careers, and they've turned into be good people. So I appreciate the per diem idea on a daily number. Did anybody do math and figure out what they're spending now by 30 days? Anybody write that down? Based on the formula he just gave you, no? So you really should just take your income right now you're currently spending, divide it by 30 and come up with your number right now. I'd encourage you to do it for a reason. So, $10,000 a month, would you use the 30-day number?
30-day numbers are you all the time.
All right. So what's 10,000 divided by 30 days? So there's, based on your home and your car and your insurance and, you know, your incidentals, and that's what you're currently spending, whatever that number is. And I think we're all in a great, being martial artists, we're in a great position for cash flow. Our schools are not expensive like a restaurant. The inventory is not like we use a liquor store, right? So they have a big inventory, or a furniture store. They're big inventories. We don't have all that. So our cash flow is really, really, really good. So I want to talk today a little bit about a strategy for your management of your cash and what to do with it afterwards. There's I'm a golfer. I play a lot of golf. And I have some strategies about when I get on the putting green about reading the green. And I went through a course recently, and it taught me a strategy. My putting has got significantly better because I have a plan. The old plan was walk up, boy, I hope I get it close. The new plan is a little strategy, and that helps me get the ball closer. So I'd like to share with you my strategy and how I approach my business and how I take the cash flow and how we do it, and then how we redirect it to somewhere else that can augment the cash at a greater pace than your business can augment it. You want me to say that again? You know, your business is, most of us have a single school. I have 6, Master Clark's got 25, Mr. Cassie's got 7. Our ability to augment money is a little different than your ability to augment money. Okay, it's just different. It's because of the reach and the effectiveness we have with it. So I like you to think about this question I like to say to you. How long have you been in martial arts business? Write that down. What is your average annual income for your business? Just come up with a number over those last 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. Write that down. Multiply those two together, you get a gross sales of all the years you've been in business. Write that down, or you can project it in your mind. Here's the part that's not so fun for a lot of people. What's left? How much is left? So if you've been in business 20 years, you make $500,000 a year, how much money is that? $10 million. What's left? Okay, I like to say I enjoy half of my income and I invest the other half. Actually, the month of January is more like 75% that I invested. So my question to you is, how much are you investing or putting into the future? I have an instructor who gave me a casino chip 2 years ago on my birthday. It's a $100 chip. And recently I got some new furniture and I happened to find the $100 chip. And I thought, wow. So I brought it to staff training and I go, look, Mr. Mazzol, I still got the $100 chip. If he had given me a $100 bill, would I still have it? But because it was in a form that I couldn't use today, I had a better chance of retaining it for a longer period of time. And I didn't earn anything on it, but I think the idea is this. I hear these commercials on the radio when you see the market go down. Of course, gold prices go up because people are concerned. So you'll hear these commercials on the radio. Bring in your gold, bring in your valuable stuff, and we'll give you something that's worth nothing in the next week because you'll spend it. That's all I hear in the commercial when I hear that, because my brain's been trained a little differently to think about things differently. So you have this asset that's sitting on your it's a piece of gold, and you can't wait to trade it in to get what? A $100 bill that by the end of the day will be where? Not in your pocket anymore. All right, you understand that mentality? Give you a second thought. When you see, we get a pair of Google glasses on, and you go by a yard sale. Anybody have yard sales where you live? You ever seen these things? Yeah, they're a dying breed, right? But so you go by this yard sale and you see all this stuff on somebody's front yard. And if you could wear this Google glass, imagine for a moment all the retail prices of what you paid for it were popped up above it, like in a little bubble. Just look at it. Next to it was how much you're going to actually try to sell it for today. You buy it at top and you sell it where? And most of the things that we buy or accumulate have very little, no value. They seem like they have value today. I mentioned the other day, but America's a great place, and when you have discipline, you can really enjoy it at a high level, as Master Clark's living a life of freedom, where I think a lot of people aspire to. So the third number I would say in your Google Glass is, well, that $20 that you paid on that item that's now worth 10 cents you can't wait to get rid of, been invested over the last 36 months would now be worth $20. It'd be worth more. So not only the junk that you purchase is a waste of money, but it's the misallocation of the growth in the future that you can earn on that money. Does that make sense? You get that? So that Google Glass thing doesn't exist, but I just give you an idea. I think in America we're really good at accumulating. Well, what are we great at accumulating in this country? Stuff. What kind of stuff? Crap. What else are we good at accumulating? Debt. Yeah, debt. What else? Yeah, take a look at the health industry. I mean, we accumulate all non-valuable things. That's what we're accumulating. And so I'm not suggesting that money is the thing, but money is the freedom. Money is the way to get there and start to live differently and think differently, as where Master Clark is already. I mean, some of you have heard that and said, this is a great idea, but I'm not there right now. And it's going to take time to get there. So anyhow, that number should be educational for you. This, I tell my friends that from 0 to 20, you're trying to figure out who you are. From 20 to 40, you're trying to build something. From 40 to 60, you better start enjoying something. Because 60 to 80, depending on where you're at. So we look at these things in this thing. Now, I agree with Master Clark. I mentioned earlier when I met him, since 2000, I haven't taught a general class anymore. That's 16 years I've been semi-retired. I do exactly what I enjoy doing with my staff. Twice a week I work with them. And again, I heard him, I followed it, I took action, I've enjoyed it. I play a lot of golf, and he's right about the country club thing. That whole market is completely different. And so I think living on your terms is something that's pretty special, but it's going to require you to have kind of a laser-like focus to get there. You're in a very unique position to have a business that has great cash flow without high expenses, if that makes sense. So right now, you're in your working years, most of us. This is the heart of where we are. This is the heart of where you'll have the energy to do what it is that you do and get the highest level of production that you can get from that. Who has a money management system for their account? The way that they manage their money on a monthly basis? Anybody have one? Can you...
For myself,
yes.
For our family, yeah. We use Motley Fool and we invest in it.
So, I would tell you to. There's a young man that I work with that I trade with. Some of you are already working with him. We were talking about this before I came down the other day, and he mentioned. He said, if you opened up my checking account, now he's a little odd, by the way. I don't recommend this, but if you open up my checking account. And I do a printout of everything that left my account the last 6 months. 90% of it is going toward my portfolio. Think about that for a minute. I mean, he's amping up the opportunity for him to develop his net worth to a level that he can have a per diem that's will never end. Okay, and it'll always be replaced. So if you were to scan in your mind what your last 90 days your checking account looked like, where did all the money go? How much of it went to your future, and how much of it went to somebody else? I'm not telling you not to live your life and enjoy your life. I'm guilty of that at every level, okay? But I think there's balance in life, and I think the martial arts teaches us that. And I think we can spend as much as we want as long as we have some balance of what we're investing into the future. And so the reason why we decided to bring this forward is because nobody's talking about this in our industry. You can hear everything that you want to hear about everything. And it will make you a little bit more money so that you can spend by the end of the month, I guess. I'm just asking you to take a look at how you can reserve it for the future. Now, I agree with Master Clark. You got to live now. There's no question about that. But I think we have two eyeballs for a reason, one today and one long term. And I'm asking you to keep an eye on both of them for the growth of what you can build. So you're hearing it right now in politics. You hear something what's called the wealth gap. Anybody heard this? And the income or the wealth gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So generally speaking, as Tim was referencing with Google, are they biased about their own products? Absolutely. Well, the market's similar to that, by the way. And there are a lot of vehicles. It just so happens that's kind of the method that we're in. But when we see a market pullback with the economy, truthfully what's happening is when I lose money, guess who loses money? Everybody in the market. It's equal. It doesn't affect me like any different than it affects everybody else, okay? The economy retracts. But the reason why the economy retracts is Apple was at $128 a share when it hit its peak. The market pulled back. Apple was at 92. Guess what Apple was doing at that time? They were buying their company back for a lot cheaper price because they knew it was going back to 128. Okay? So what happens in people, mom and pop start investing in the market, and people are really afraid to do it because I may lose my money. That's kind of where our thinking is. But when the market pulls back, you get down to 115, you watch your money disappear. You get down to 110, you watch more disappear. And it's called capitulation. People will start to say, I can't handle it anymore. So what do? Did anybody do that in 2009, your 401k? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. You didn't have to. So what happened was you capitulated. You kept seeing it go down, and you said to yourself, what? Oh my God, I got to get out. So he gets out, and he decides to sell it. Well, the way the market works is you can't sell something unless somebody... You could try to sell it. It just sits in the market, and it will keep dropping in price until somebody comes in to buy it. So in his case, he got out at a certain number, and what happened to the market since '08? It returned, and even surpassed it. So what happens is the market shakes out the weak hands. It's all done intentional, by the way. It's kind of scary, but you got to ride it out. So when the market shakes it out like that, people start to jump ship. They get scared. So you just bought something for $128, and now I'm buying it from you from $92. How often do I want to do that? Okay? It's the easiest game in the world to play. It's money. It's real. Okay, if I gave you, I mentioned it the other day, I went to a seminar for 3 days, I paid some personal consultant, I gave a certain amount, I got a certain amount back. Now, if I'm getting more than what I'm paying, how often do you want to do that? Every second. And the challenge with us is, because we haven't learned how to invest yet, some of us also are gun shy about investing in our business as well. We're unsure of how to do it. Because we don't either maybe trust ourselves, or we heard somebody had a bad experience, or whatever the case might be. But when I look at martial arts ranks, raise your hand if you know what an orange belt should look like in your program. What a blue belt should look like. So based on your age and based on your goals in life, what belt are you in the direction of where you want to be as far as your personal wealth goes? You a yellow belt? Orange belt? Green belt? I went to this wealth seminar a long time ago, and the guy said this. Here's the secret. They work with doctors and dentists, people with high income but no net worth. Do you know what I mean by that? They make a lot of money every year, but they don't have anything accumulated. Even the squirrels in the fall know how to accumulate. Okay, it's a necessary kind of common law practice, right? So, I lost my thought on that. I need a margarita, apparently. Anyhow, when we accumulate over time, when I decide that I'm going to, this wealth seminar I went to said, listen, take some account, open an account up that you can't touch. Seemed obvious to me. Your general account, you have access to it every single day. Okay, like that coin, I had it. I had access to it, but I didn't have a place to put it because I didn't go to the casino. So I still retained it. It didn't increase in value, but I still had it. Okay? So the wealth seminar I go to basically says, open up an account you can't touch. I think, okay. So I open up a Fidelity account. And I decide for the first time in my life, intentionally, not accidentally, I'm going to start taking money out of my account and shifting it to my future. I got through the first year, and I've told this story on our investment page. I think I had like 40 grand. And I thought, how come I haven't been doing that for 20 years? That's what hit me. Year 2, did the same thing, but I amped up the pace. By year 3, I became very addicted to it. And net worth became important to me. So I started putting a lot of intention into it because I knew it was going to take care of me, not only in the future, but today, because it's the nest egg that I think we all are trying to work toward. That's why there's so many of these products. So I didn't really start investing it until the 3rd year. I started accumulating first. And I think some of us think, well, I'm going to take some money and I'm going to take the dice and I'm going to red or black. That's not what the stock market's not a casino. It's calculated. And it's really important to get people that are kind of in it all day long and that also have your best interests in mind and they're making calculating decisions on what it's going to do. But here's my point. I moved that money to an account that I couldn't touch. It was 40,000. One could argue that I had 100% return on that 40,000 because if I didn't move it to the account, generally speaking, the last 20 years of my life, where would it be? So you could argue without any increase in the principal, or the interest, or the investment size that I earned money. Because I actually did what? I kept it. Simple. Step 1, open the account. Step 2, save it. Just keep it. Start. And well, what do I do with it? I got 3,000. What am I going to do with it? Do that about 10 more times and then give me a call. Like you got to start accumulation. And a lot of it is this mindset where year 1 I was at here, year 2 I added it. And that's kind of where it really kicked in. I said, oh my, why haven't I been doing this 20 years? Is this resonating with anybody? The idea that you've been missing out on just a little bit, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Let's just say that you figured out that your per diem is $500 a day, $15,000 a month, but you earn 20. What are you doing with the other 5? Okay, so we talk about the wealth gap. So now we get back to what we were just talking about a moment ago. Account starts to go down. Let's see if this resonates with anybody. Market starts to fall. Economy gets tough. What happens to people? They go after their 401k and do what? Put it in their pocket because they need to pay bills where? Today. So they accumulate some money. They get a stack of it. I don't know, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. And economy goes down. So now you need to use that money that you've earned. So once you use that money, where do you begin again? At zero again. Is anybody going through this process in their life? How many times are you going through this process? You accumulated something, some life event happened, wiped you out, you started over again. It's like 50 first dates. Same thing over and over again. Be careful of that. Okay, you don't have to go through that process. But it will require a little discipline because here's what happens. All too often we see this, we just had this big Powerball jackpot thingamajiggy. Prior to that, they had all of the winners of the last 10 years and many of them have passed away or have absolutely gone the other way and gone into debt on top of the millions of dollars that they had. Okay, money has rules. You have to learn it. It requires discipline. You need to apply them to that. You have to appreciate what that is so that you can grow it. And so let's face it, when you have a little bit of extra money, whatever that number is for you, you're going to have a little bit more security in the way that you operate on a daily basis, knowing that you have something that you're moving toward in the future. Now, whether you decide to shift it to your children, I agree with Master Clark. That happened to Bill Gates, by the way. Gave away all his money. He didn't give it to his kids because he wanted his kids to have the same experience in life that he had. So I agree with that statement 100%. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it now. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be investing it and thinking long term. We're living longer than we've ever lived before. They're saying that if you can live another 20 years and you have enough money, you can really live as long as you want with all the technology that's changing. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, if I had my choice of saving some and investing it and growing it, I would rather do that than totally 100% enjoying everything I do today. So I have a little, I'll share how I do my management system quickly with you. If I had one school, I have a general account. This is my credit card. I have a money market account. And this is my Fidelity account. Does everybody check their account every day? Do you check financially? Go check your checking account and see where you stand today? Anybody do that? Master Clock, how often do you check in with that?
I don't, somebody else.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I also check my credit card every day. Recently, I've had fraud twice in the last 6 weeks, so for me, I stay in the game. I stay aware of it, okay? So most of you know, if this is your general account, how much money on a weekly basis you need to manage your school. Does anybody know that? If you've been checking your accounts and watching your business, you'll know the ebb and flow of your business, especially if you have billing. Billing comes in on the first, what happens to your checking account? Billing comes in at the end of the month, what happens to your checking account? It goes up and down. So you'll know the ebb and flow of your business. Then you have payroll and all these other things. So I know about how much money I need to keep in my general account. My second account is my credit card. I mean, tons of Sky Miles. If you're not using one for Sky Miles, you're missing out on opportunity really just to travel for free all the time on money that you would have already paid for. If I could put the rent and the payroll on that thing, I would. Okay, they won't accept it. I wish I could. Okay? This next one is a money market account, and my last one is a Fidelity account. So it's the end of the month. It's January 31st or February 1. Here's what happens. I look at this account, and let's just say I like to keep 10 grand in it. It was a good month. I have 50 grand left. So I take 40 out of it. I leave my 10 in there. Because at the end of the month, what's paid for? Everything's paid for, hopefully. Your payrolls, everything's paid for. So it's the end of the month. So before you get your accountant statement about telling you what profit and loss is, if you have one school and you're in charge of it, then pretty much it's all your money, okay? So you're there. So you take the 40, and then I go to my credit card because I carry zero balances, and I encourage you to do that too. Use the card for the miles. You don't use it to get caught up in that credit game. So let's just say I have an $8,000 balance. I take the 40, I go to 8, I got 32 left. I pay this off. Anybody pay quarterly taxes? Okay, I do as well. So my money market account, I know what my quarterly bill is. So every month I build toward that so that when that happy, glorious day happens, okay, I'm already covered. So let's just say that, I take 5 grand out of this money to pay each month to build this account up to where I need it to be. So as long as my minimums are in place, my credit card's paid for, I know what I need here, I'm working toward paying my quarterly, I got 28 grand left. For me, that's what that does. It gets shifted right into my future. 12 times a year, I do this. Mr. Quirk, how many times do I text you at the end of the year? Every month. And what do I say? What do I say? It's moving day. Moving day means it's moving day. We're shifting. I call it a shift. I shift. Because I'm on payroll. I already get paid. I have enough to live on. But what's left is I shift. And I can tell you this. If I don't shift it, if you leave it in your checking account, it will check out. And it will go somewhere else. But this is very intentionally designed to start helping you get over this mental block about money. You know, unfortunately, and this happens all too often, some people are super uncomfortable when they start to make extra money. They think they're not entitled to it, or they think they're uncomfortable with it, or they see people in the streets aren't doing well. Fortunately, I don't have that problem. I don't. I mean, you earn exactly what you earned. If you earned it, you earned it. So, one last formula. You're going to kick me out?
Yeah, they're going to have lunch.
Can I have an eraser? Eraser? Simple strategy, you know? It's so simple. I just developed this because I was tired of not having any money or building it. So I want to give you the last thing that Sam put this together for me, because I do have an Excel spreadsheet that kind of factors out 30 years. If you started investing today, every month how much you invested into it with about 8%. I had a 27% last year return in my portfolio. Okay? Excuse me, 2 years ago. Last year was smaller. It was 7%. But on average, over 30 years, it's going to be about an 8% return. Okay? We know that money depreciates every year at, anybody know? 2 to 3% depending on inflation. So you take $100, you put it on your mattress, you wait a year, that $100 bill just all of a sudden turns into something less, 97, 96 bucks. Because it sat there, okay? Because the money currency is built to depreciate, by the way. It's intentional. So we put together this little schematic for you so that everybody can appreciate just how simple this is. Take me 2 seconds. If you started with 500 and you put 500 bucks a month in your account, you had an 8% return over 20 years. Now you're about 274, 500 bucks a month. Okay? Not very exciting, huh? Maybe exciting if you're at zero now. That would be exciting. 1,000 bucks a month, or net worth, contributing 1,000, 8% over 20 years, jumps to 589. Who can afford $500 a month to invest right now? Anybody? Who can't? Seriously, come on. It's 500 bucks. It's $100, $125 a week. $2,000. Same thing, 8%, 20 years. 1.1 million. I don't know if you can do that. I'm pretty sure most people in this room can. What will stop you is not the money. What will stop you is your mind. Your mind's stuck. You can't get over the fact that you need to do this. And that's the bigger lesson, okay? Last one, $3,000 a month, 8%. It's 1.7. $10% return on $2 million. How much money a year? 200 grand a year. Can you live on that? Divide your 200 by 365. Go with Master Clark's idea per diem. We'll give you a number. Is that possible? And the answer is yes. I mean, is that going to change your lifestyle, putting $1,000 a month for the next 20 years into an account? Will that change? 8% is low, by the way. You definitely could do better than that. But is that going to change your lifestyle? Will that affect you negatively to put that much money? So for me, it became psychological. Year one was the 40. Year two was the 60. Year three, I got really happy with it and just started really, really getting aggressive with it. And so what changed about this process was me, my discipline, my focus. That's what changed. That's it. And so I started looking at it differently and looking at everything differently. Since then, the revenue of our business grows because I think differently about it. We teach our staff how to do this. They all have 401ks, which, by the way, not the greatest investment vehicle, right? There are all kinds of different modules out there. You have a business. Your business has value. It produces income for you every single month. But the only challenge with our businesses as an asset is who wants to buy it? Who's going to buy it? Ms. Schumann mentioned the other day that Richard Branson, he's involved potentially in one of the companies that she's working with. Would he be big enough to buy Master Clark's business? We don't have any Disneys or Coca-Cola, or we don't have any of those people coming into our industry to go, hey, Mr. Clark, we'll pay you $400,000 for your business. We don't have that. So if we can't sell it, then what's the value of it? The value of it is that, one, you enjoy it and it's your lifestyle, and it also gets to pay you daily. But at some point, as a single school owner, I'm offering you an idea of how to augment your money and grow it and maximize it. That's what I'm just showing you. I am not a financial expert. This little money management thing helped me get to where I am. And in 7 years, I was able to start with zero, truthfully, and I broke the seven-figure mark in that 7 years' time because I was a little more aggressive. Had I not gone to that seminar, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have started looking into it. I wouldn't have got enthusiastic about it. So the money management system is the thing for me, shifting every month. It's boring, by the way. 12 times a year, you take a chunk of money and you move it over there. It's boring. It's really boring. But it's the discipline needed to get to that level. And I don't suggest you move money, by the way, that all of a sudden your kids can't eat or be fed or pay your bill. You certainly want to continue to live your lifestyle. But I got to believe that there's a little extra money in your month that could be moved and retained to the future so that it can be magnified and grown. That make sense? I think, yes, sir.
Mr. Horton, you manage a Facebook kind of wealth page. Can you share that with people? Can you give a little bit of your advice is given and
Sure.
periodically?
Yeah, we do have a Facebook page. If you send me a message, I'll add you to the page. But Sam really posts to it a lot, and the thing that I really enjoy working with them, there's been a lot of mention of Koreans. Sam feels the same way about Koreans. He's Korean. He'll make some intelligent posts to the page. You'll get to read some of them. He's made some posts about some of the clients he's working with, some of the gains that they can make in a day in a portfolio. Actually, I was with Dwayne last night, and it was a bad day in the market, and I shared with him what was possible. It was a bad day in the market. I mean, that's boring. Yeah, well, decent, not bad. Okay, for doing something that's already yours and maximizing the effect of it. And you know, there's Mr. Reed is on the page. He always laughs at me privately. He'll send me a message back. All right, show me the bad days. Stop showing me just the good days. I've shared with Mr. Snyder one day. I had, you know, I mean, I've had days better than most people have profit in 3 months of your school. Days. So anyhow, I'm here for the rest of the weekend. I'm really passionate about this because I think this is the thing that helps people get to the next level. It does require the discipline. You have to appreciate what can happen with it, but you have to be intentional with it. And you have to develop that discipline. You get a stack of money, keep it. Please, all right, you know, I always wanted that new car. Let me go buy it, or whatever the case might be. Live your lifestyle. I say enjoy half, invest half. But don't, and I agree with Master Clark 100%. It's all about lifestyle. It's all about living and living now and not waiting, because living now when you're young is a whole lot more fun, I think, as when you get older. If your mobility and age and health are not going to require you, you're better off to travel now and do everything that you can as you can. So, but I'll be around this weekend. So I hope this information is helpful, and I enjoyed meeting everybody and seeing everybody. Thank you.
And once again, for the speakers, I can't thank you enough. I handpick these people because they're givers, and everything they're talking about is things they are doing. There's no bull crap on anything. There's no theory. These guys are doing it. I know what Greg's bank account is. It's pretty damn impressive, and he's showing you how to get there. I know the people that Dwayne and Eric are bringing in. I know how Dave Wheaton lives. And all of these guys are, everything here is based in fact and based on what we're doing, and I hope you appreciate it, and I hope it worked for you. Wilfredo, can you come here for a second?
Ready?
Let's all stand up like martial artists. Wait, you're going to be a karate guy for it, like this way. No, head, salute. Yeah.